What is going on, my family? Your boy Demetrius is back with another Tekken 8 video. Here we are going to talk about something that has kind of been talked about already, but over the last year and a half or so, it kind of had died down. Now it has come back up because someone that has demanded a certain character to come back into the game. You now know when it comes to Tekken 8, that's all that's going on right now. People are demanding characters, demanding things to come back in. You know, it just never stops. It's just one of those never-ending trains that continues to go on when it comes to Tekken 8. So in this situation here, once again, it has to involve Ganryu. Now, remember, like a year and a half ago, I did a video on this where Harada was asked by a certain person, I guess a Ganryu main, when is Ganryu coming back into the game? And Harada basically said Ganryu was on his way. So now another person, once again, that is demanding Ganryu to come back into the game, and Harada pretty much comes out and says the same thing. He's been saying for decades, Ganryu is currently on his way to the King of Iron Fist venue. Whether he makes it in on time depends on the moment. Now see, the thing about this is that even though Harada has said something similar like this before when it comes to Ganryu, it's a little bit different this time around, to the point where, you know, you kind of got to ask yourself, is Harada really talking about Ganryu actually coming back into Tekken 8 at this point? Now, it does make a little bit of sense. Like, to me, Ganryu is one of those type of characters. If he's in, great. If he's not, you know, it's okay. So I don't mind Ganryu coming back to Tekken 8. You know what I'm saying? You know, I would choose Ganryu over a couple of the characters that they have in Tekken 8 as far as DLC right now. But, you know, a lot of people got to ask yourselves, when Harada says this, is he really talking about Ganryu coming back to Tekken 8, or is he just basically on some troll shit right now? Y'all feel what I'm saying? And here's the thing about it. Now, like I said, I did mention the fact that, you know, Harada might be on some troll shit, but there is a pattern that I'm seeing with Harada when it comes to responding to characters that could possibly be back in Tekken 8 or possibly not be back in Tekken 8. Here's the thing. One thing I've noticed with Harada, when a character has a possibility of coming back in Tekken 8, I noticed that Harada does either respond to people when it comes to that character, and he does elaborate on what's going on in the situation with that character. And the characters that probably are not going to come back, Harada just ignores it altogether. Like, for an example, Anna Williams. Anna Williams is probably the best example of this. Even before Tekken 8 was even released, Anna Williams was always talked about Harada. Harada was always talking about her. Harada was always tweeting something about her. Heck, the legendary polls that Anna won every single one of those polls. Y'all feel what I'm saying? To the point where they really had no choice but to put Anna back in the game. And every time someone said something about Anna, Harada had no problem in responding. And it was the same thing with Eddie. Y'all know the situations that happened with Eddie, you know, the whole burning hammer thing, the whole black character thing that happened on Twitter that involved Eddie. Harada responded to it. And guess what? Eddie got back into the game. Heihachi, another example. Now, Heihachi was kind of weird in a sense that when people were talking about Heihachi, all Harada was saying is, Heihachi is dead, Heihachi is dead, Heihachi is dead. But Harada still kept talking about Heihachi, even though he was trying to drill it in our minds that Heihachi was dead. And guess what? Heihachi came back, and we already know why he came back. It was damage control, but at the same time, we already thought that Heihachi was going to come back some way or another, but we just didn't think it'd be that soon. But the fact that Harada was always talking about Heihachi got back into the game. Now, unfortunately, when it comes to a lot of these other characters that are demanded, characters such as a Bruce Irvin, characters such as Josie, the crazy thing about that is when these characters get demanded on Twitter or wherever, Harada just ignores it. He doesn't really talk about those characters. He doesn't talk about Bruce Irvin at all. The last thing that I remember when someone tagged Harada about Bruce Irvin, Harada turned around and basically told that person that he would threaten to block them if they kept on tagging him things about Bruce Irvin. So it's kind of like Harada, when he ignores certain characters, those are the characters you can kind of be like, okay, those characters might not be coming back. And like I said, Lei Wulong, every time someone mentions Lei to him, Harada does not say nothing. He just totally ignores Lei Wulong. So that's a pattern there. It's a very disturbing pattern. It's a pattern that, you know, It's not 100% a true pattern, but y'all just got to think about it. You know, every single time Harada responds to these certain characters, these characters do be ending back up in the game. Like I said, with Anna Williams, with Eddie, Heihachi, these are all characters that he has responded to and has had conversations with people on Twitter, and those characters ended up being back into the game. Other characters, he just ignores them. But now I'm seeing with Ganryu, every time someone mentions Ganryu, which is very little, Harada does talk. He does open up. He does say something about Ganryu. So to me, right there, that is a little bit of a high percentage that we can see Ganryu probably in Season 3. I don't think we're going to see him in Tekken 8 Season 2 because everyone, you know, thinks that, you know, Kunimitsu is the next character. But I will say this. You know, Ganryu does wear purple, so could be a possibility, but I don't think so. But I'm just saying Ganryu does wear purple, so I don't know how much we should dwell on the background color like they tell us to, but Ganryu does wear purple. Ganryu is a character that Harada is always willing to talk about. So for the people that are wanting Ganryu back into the game, it's more likely it's going to happen. Like you said, it's just a matter of when. I don't know what's really going to happen when it comes to a Season 3. It's probably going to be that same format, same 4 characters or whatever. If so, yeah, we'll probably see Ganryu in Season 3. Anything after Season 3, it's just up in the air right now. A character that gets ignored is probably not going to be in the game. And as y'all saw in that tweet that I showed y'all, I just wanted to just point this out. A fucking Christie stan just had to come in and say some shit. Y'all feel what I'm saying? I just had to point that shit out. Every time a character get demanded, here come the Christie stans, man. It's just absolutely ridiculous. The crazy part about that is the only time Harada responds to a Christie stans is when he's pissed off. When Christie stans piss him the hell off, he responds to them. Just always, every time a character gets talked about, the Christie stans, they right there, man. I'm telling you, man. They make Melina fans green with envy, man. It's just absolutely ridiculous. But what I will conclude by saying is that ever since Tekken 8 Season 2 began and all the stuff that's going on when it comes to Tekken 8 Season 2, I just tell people, like, look, no matter what Harada says, do not hold on to what he says. You feel what I'm saying? Even if it comes out being true, do not hold on to what he says right now, because it kind of feels like, you know, Harada, you know, if he's not doing damage control, it's almost like he's trying to keep the community jelled. You know, he doesn't want the community he doesn't want the community in shambles. So right now, you know, it kind of feels like Harada is kind of like, you know, responding and talking to people just to keep the community in a jailed state right now. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's just a lot of crazy things going on when it comes to Tekken 8 Season 2. And like I said in the previous video, the patch did put the game back on the right track, but there's still a lot of work to be done, you know. And I kind of feel like, you know, what the development team should do is to hold off on releasing DLC right now and fix the game. But, you know, I'm not the head at Namco, so they not going to listen to me. So when it comes to this whole thing with Ganryu, for the people that want him back, that's great. If y'all want Ganryu back, that's great. Like I said, Ganryu is a character I don't have no problem with. If he comes back, that's great. If not, you know, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? He's a character that, you know, I never had no trouble going up against him or nothing like that. You know, he's actually a fun character to go up against. You feel what I'm saying? You know, it's not every game that you could go up against a sumo wrestler character and be able to launch him all across the fucking room. Y'all feel what I'm saying? Because a lot of these fighting games, you know, when they have a sumo wrestling character, you got to kind of modify your game against a sumo wrestling character, you know, kind of like in Virtua Fighter. When you go up against Taka, you can't juggle Taka like you can juggle other characters in the game. But like Ganryu is that character, you can juggle him just like you can juggle any character in the game. So I did find that fun in doing that in past Tekken games. So like I said, Ganryu is a character, if he comes back, you know, I would really be all for Ganryu coming back. But for the people that want him back, you know, just don't hold on to this. Harada keeps on saying Ganryu is on his way, because really, he didn't really say the game. You know, in the last video that I did, Harada didn't really say Ganryu is coming back to Tekken 8 the game. It's like he says he's coming back to King of Iron Fist, whatever. So I just encourage people to just don't hold on to what Harada says right now. If it happens, great. But right now, I just kind of feel like Harada is saying things that, you know, he doesn't want people unhappy. And I understand that. So when it comes to certain characters, he is coming out and he is, you know, talking and elaborating on if those characters come back or not. You feel what I'm saying? And like I said, the characters that he ignores, those are the characters that might be in a little bit of trouble. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I would find it kind of weird that if Ganryu were to come back before Lei Wulong or Bruce Irvin did, I would find that kind of weird. I would find that kind of upsetting. But like I said, Ganryu, you know, if Ganryu came back, it'd be cool. But if he were to come back before Lei, that'd be a little weird. But at the same time, you know, it wouldn't bother me one bit. Before I get out of here, I would like to say, you know, this tweet from Harada, I was reading this deeply. I was really trying to pick apart a lot of things. But he also said at the end, it does depend on the moment. So right now, maybe Harada is kind of saying that, you know what, once Tekken 8 gets fixed to the point where it's as close as balanced as they can get it, that's probably when we'll see a character like Ganryu. Maybe around season 3. You feel what I'm saying? So I was also kind of looking at that. Maybe that's what Harada means by depending on the moment. Right now, I don't feel like it's a good moment for no classic character like Ganryu to come back right now in the state that the game is in. I kind of took that last parenthesis as Harada basically saying, you know what, we're going to try to fix the game as much as we can and then release a character like Ganryu. And if that's what they're doing, I'm all for it. Shout out to Harada for basically prioritizing fixing the game before bringing a character like Ganryu in. So that's what I took away from that sentence that Harada tweeted on Twitter. So that's what I wanted to come on here and talk about. This whole thing with Ganryu, it got resurfaced again. And like I said, Harada continues to say the same thing, saying that Ganryu is on his way. If he is on his way, that's great. And like I said, that last parenthesis, Harada was kind of like, okay, you know, depending on the moment, they're probably waiting until, you know, things get fixed to the point where they can get it as balanced as possible. And it's kind of like the same thing with Lei. I'd rather wait for them to put Lei back into the game and wait for the game to be as balanced as possible to put a character like Lei back into the game. Because we all know Lei is a stance-heavy character. And if they were to put Lei back in the game, Lei would probably have an install. Like, let's just keep it all the way real. With the number of stances that he has, Lei will probably have an install. So they're probably waiting on that. Y'all feel what I'm saying? Waiting on putting a character like Lei back into the game to fix all of those problems. Then they'll put out Ganryu. Then they'll put out Lei. Something like that. It's just something to think about. Y'all feel what I'm saying? For the people that want those characters back into the game, it could still possibly happen. But it does look like, you know, Harada and the Tekken team, they are trying to work on fixing and balancing the games from a defensive standpoint, mechanical standpoint, and we're just going to have to see what happens. So let me know what y'all think about the situation here with Harada once again saying that Ganryu is on his way. We could still possibly see Ganryu in the future, possibly, when it comes to Tekken 8. Put y'all thoughts and y'all feelings in the comment section below. We could definitely get a conversation started. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe to your boy for the hottest Tekken 8 action on the internet, period. My name is Demetrius. I will get back at you in the next video. God bless. Stay safe. I am out. Peace.